morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice for Radio. So today, I want to tell you about a card which is basically guaranteed to be one of the rarest and most expensive cards we ever see. And yes, I do mean one of the most expensive cards we will ever see. It's Rainbow Rare Charizard VMAX. Now, there are many reasons why this will end up being so rare. But expensive really. But let's start off with the most obvious of them. There's only 600 of them in the world. There are literally 600 of these in the world, and if you don't get one of them, gutted. Now, to be fair, I have a card. I own a Pokemon card, of which only 600 were ever made. You see, it used to be that if you took part in Pokemon tournaments, you would get play points, and you would get physical rewards mailed to you by Pokemon depending on how many tournaments you attended. And there was one year where there were awards for the top 100 players in the world in play points, and that was back before the whole marriage and kids thing, so I went to an obscene amount of Pokemon tournaments. I had amongst the top 100 play points in the entire world, and I got myself a League promo Pokemon catcher. Now, essentially, you were given 2 copies of these, and there were top 100 Masters, Seniors, Juniors, but each player got 2, and that makes 600 copies of Pokemon Catcher, the League promo, in the entire world. It's really not that valuable. Worth maybe like 40, 50 bucks. So given that I've got a Pokemon card where there are literally only 600 of them in the entire world, and it's worth $40, $50, why is this Charizard going to end up being worth... Honestly, it's going to be well over $5,000. And the answer is extremely simple. It's Charizard. To continue my analogy with Pokemon Catcher, there's a gold Pokemon Catcher. And as much as I like the League promo Pokemon Catcher, the fact of the matter is there's a gold version which looks cooler. Plus my version is pre-errata, which is a little bit sad because you need an errated version to use as a bit of a reference, and we basically end up with a card which is cool, and from a collector's and weird standpoint, I love it, but people aren't jumping over themselves to get these League promo Pokemon catchers, although they are extremely rare. Charizard, however, is a whole different story. I showed you a video a little while ago, I'll link it in the description, that when we got the shiny full art Charizard GX in Hidden Fates, the first Beckett 10, the first super pristine condition one, sold for $10,000. Now it's come down a bit since then, but if you want to get yourself a PSA 10 Charizard, you're going to be looking at over $1,000. I think you'd be very lucky to get a PSA 10, that's a graded one that you've sent to a company and had its condition appraised, for less than $1,000. And that is in a set which is just out. It's just there. Here we go, there's one on eBay at the moment with bids still going, and a PSA 10 is at $1,500 with 5 days left. And this is a Charizard that you can just buy in a set. You can buy yourself a pack of Hidden Fates and you might pull one. I pulled one of these, I'll link that video in the description as well. I pulled a random Mewtwo pin collection with 3 packs of Hidden Fates. The only 3 packs of Hidden Fates I ever actually bought, and I got myself a Charizard. That is the one piece of luck I've been pulling from packs in the 10 years I've been playing, so don't hate me too much. My luck is generally abysmal, but that made up for it, so no complaints here. We've also seen that the Rainbow Rare Tag Team Charizard is extremely valuable and is amongst the most valuable cards we see at the moment. You're probably looking somewhere in the region of $200 to $300 for that card. And then, of course, we've got the Rainbow Rare Charizard from Burning Shadows, which is generally rocking in somewhere in the region of $400 plus. My point is that Charizard cards are always more valuable, and they are always harder to get because people don't sell them. Collectors get hold of them and then just don't give them up again, and that's one of the reasons why it becomes so difficult to actually get these Charizard, because people buy them and then sit on them and don't want to sell them anymore. I mean, this has been happening since the base set. The base set Charizard was the card that everybody coveted and ended up being the rarest, most expensive card, etc., despite the fact that it wasn't actually any rarer in terms of how many there were in packs than any other holo that came around in the base set. So what about this Charizard then? How is it actually being distributed? Why are there only 600 of them in the world? And essentially what's happening is that a tournament is being held over in Japan. And it's kind of like a pre-release. You get yourself 10 packs of Legendary Heartbeat. That is a new expansion, Sword and Shield 3A. You open them up, you make a deck, and the winner of that tournament will get this Charizard. Now, for what it's worth, everyone who takes part will get that gym trainer supporter I showed you a couple of days ago, and the top 4 will get the full art Charizard, which is also only available in this manner. And to be fair, that full art Charizard is still going to be a very expensive sought after card. It just so happens that there are 4 times as many. So there are going to be 2,400 full art Charizards compared to 600 rainbow rare Charizards. So you need to go to these tournaments and you need to get in. And attendance is actually limited, so you can't just turn up to all of these. That would be silly. So what we've got here is a tournament over in Japan, or 600 tournaments. And you go along and you've got to win the whole thing. And that is it. That is the only way you actually get yourself one of these Charizard. So when you combine the fact that Charizard as a whole is always ridiculously expensive, with the fact that this is an extremely, extremely rare card, hopefully at this stage you can start to see why this is going to end up being such a ridiculously expensive card. Now, we have actually seen basically this before. We saw it with Mewtwo. There was a hyper rare Mewtwo, a rainbow rare Mewtwo, which was given away in the exact same style of tournament in Japan about a year ago-ish. And they are currently selling for somewhere in the region of $3,000 to $5,000. The lovely Antoine Boulet, one of our very favourites on this particular channel, did actually win themselves a copy of the Mewtwo, so that's how we have a bit more information about that one. But that's Mewtwo. Mewtwo is not... Now, Mewtwo is popular, don't get me wrong. Mewtwo is not as popular as Charizard, not even close, not even a little bit. So it is extremely fair to say that this Charizard absolutely will be more expensive than that Mewtwo. Now, the next question, of course, wait a second, Wazzy, isn't it just going to come out over here? No. I could be wrong. But the overwhelming likelihood is no. It won't come out over here. Now, the Charizard G-Max, the VMAX, the Gigantamax, which comes out as a VMAX, came around in its own deck over in Japan, and that is the regular art. Yes, we are getting Charizard VMAX in Darkness Ablaze. We know that for a fact. It's on the pack art. So we know we're getting a Charizard in Darkness Ablaze because we've already seen the Charizard pack art. So we know that's happening. Why would we not get the Rainbow Rare as well? Because that's not the way it works. When we get the regular version as a promo in Japan, we tend to just get the regular. But what I hear some of you say, we've seen Pokemon in the past that have had their full arts and Rainbow Rares come in the following set. Why won't that happen with Charizard? Didn't happen with Mewtwo. That Mewtwo I told you about, the one that's worth $3,000 to $5,000, yeah, that never came out over here. We never got it. And in fact, there are other similar ones. I've got to thank the lovely Primal Lugia for this one. There are similar kind of cards that were given out in similar ways in Japan that we just never got. A Zekrom as well. We never ended up getting the Zekrom that was given away in a very similar thing in very similar tournaments. So again, if we never got that Zekrom, Why would we get this? Masked Royal is one last example here. Masked Royal, the full art, never made its way out over here. We got Masked Royal as a card, but we never got the full art. We got Zekrom EX, but we never got the full art. We got Mewtwo, but we never got the Rainbow Red. You see where I'm going with this? These chase cards given out in this way over in Japan, we have a history of not ever getting them. So why do we think we would get this? Yeah, sure, it's Charizard, and I've told you how great Charizard is. Pokemon, think about it from a business standpoint, right? Think about it logically. Pokemon don't want to feed the secondary market. That's not going to help Pokemon. What they want is they want people to buy the packs. People will buy the packs knowing there's a Charizard in it. Similarly, Crobat V, the new Shaman, literally, is also coming in Darkness Ablaze. We assume that's not been 100% confirmed, and there are some Pokemon Vs that won't be in the set, but we feel pretty good it will be in the set. So in a set with a Charizard and Crobat V, yeah, that set's going to sell. That set is going to sell like absolute hotcakes. Pokemon don't need to put a Rainbow Rare in the set in order to make it sell. That set is going to sell. I could be wrong, but all of the evidence and all of the history points to we're not getting this Charizard. And I've seen a bunch of arguments from people basically going, yeah, but it's Charizard, of course we're going to get it. I'm going to need a stronger argument than that to convince me. I'm not saying we definitely won't, and I'm not saying I'm not going to be convinced, but I am saying one side of the argument is this has happened several times before and we've never gotten the card. And the other side of the argument is, yeah, but come on, it's Charizard. And I don't find that side of the argument as compelling. But one thing is for certain, these Charizard cards are going to be ridiculously expensive. And they're only going to go up over time. So if you do want to get one of these, you're going to have to bite the bullet and get them early. It's not like you can turn around in a couple of years and get them a lot cheaper. Sorry. But at this stage, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to know what you think about this. So let me know in the comment section, would you? Go nuts, be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at The Wazzy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.